Thank you for watching another one of my videos. I wanted to briefly show you some of the different ways that this Google Classroom website can be interactive. So I wanted to show you some of my teacher skills, and then I also want to show you what it looks like from the student's perspective. So on the website here, there's many different ways that I can communicate with my students outside of school. And I recommend that all of my students set up their phones or whatever devices they have where they get alerts every time I post something. So with this plus icon here, I can create announcements, I can create assignments, and I can create questions. So what you see here and what I usually post is an example of an assignment where I talk about whatever we were working on or whatever is going to be assigned, and then I post some links. I can post on here, if I go to edit, it's really simple. I can attach any file that I have. I can upload things from my Google Drive. I can upload things from YouTube, or I could just insert links. It's pretty sweet. So I'm going to cancel that. So this is an example of an assignment, and my students can go in and they can actually access these documents, they can watch these videos, and then they can submit the work on there. And I'll show you that from the student perspective. We can ask questions. So as part of the homework, I can tell my kids, I'm posting a question today. So this says, what is your goals? Respond in a short paragraph. And I can see that some of my students did this. So these are fake accounts that I've created. So there is one account that is called Creative Project. There's another account that's called Sample Student. They both responded to these questions. And what I like about it, and this is stuff that we do on Blackboard all the time, is that the students can respond to each other. So Creative Project posted, Sample Student responded, Creative Project responded to that, and me, the teacher, I commended them on being so nice to each other. So that is a way where the students, I can do something where I say, A, you need to answer the question, and B, you need to respond to two of your classmates. So we can continue a discussion outside of class. Another way that is interactive is how I can grade their work. So for an example, here is something where I've already done some sort of examples of how I graded work. Let's say they needed to turn something in here. Okay, I can see who has done the work, and I can look at, okay, Creative Project, they uploaded this as their document. I'm pretty sure I just made up like some sort of fake work here. Yeah, so these are these interviews that we're doing in class. Let's say they turn this in, okay? I can go in then, and for the Creative Project, I can give them their grade, which I put this in as 60 out of 100, and I can also leave them a personal comment on how they did. So I can always grade this work. Let's say I wanted to give you a fake grade. You get a 50, and then I can hit return, and I turn this work into them, and I can say, better luck next time, which I would never really say to a kid. But I can do that. So let me show you just very quickly how this looks if you are a student. So if I log out here and I log into one of these fake student accounts that I've seen, what they can do when they've turned in an assignment. So let's say here, their work has been returned. If they open it up, boom, their score is right here. They got a 60 out of 100, and they get the feedback from me on what they could have done better. And if my students who are more on top of things, they could even head up here and they could look at all of their work and they would say, oh, I got a 60%, I got a 50%, I can read my feedback, I better do better here. So hopefully you see how this is a very cool tool where I can keep in touch with my students in a bunch of different ways. Oh, I'm so sorry, I almost forgot. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me go back to when I'm a teacher here. In addition to posting assignments, and in addition to posting questions, I can also just post announcements. So maybe I wanted to remind them that we're not coming to class tomorrow. I post an announcement, class reminder, we will be meeting in the library instead. And if I did that, all of my students would get an alert, and that would help. So I could post that in the evening, or I could even post it the next morning, like, hey, don't come to class. So all these different ways where I can use this website as a tool to reach out to my students.